So tell me, earlier we had discussed about the fund transfer, right, for the investors from US to India and all. When such process happens, do you need to seek approvals of the respective government, be RBI or from US, the respective government, to get these fund transfer? Is there certain kind of process involved?
Yes. So when I transfer the funds from Indian LLP to US LLP through ODI, it's
Yeah.
not as simple as just wiring the money from one bank account to another bank account. It has to go through the RBI process. They have to give their blessings. It
Hmm.
takes close to 6 to 8 weeks for them to even to do so.
Hmm.
So and in US, I'm always scrutinized by the SEC in US. And I have to be extremely careful with the what I'm doing with every penny and every cent. It's not I
Hmm.
can just take the money and distribute it in other projects and then bring you back and say, this is the project I've used it for. There has
Right.
to be absolute transparency in everything. So when it comes to safety, that's why it's very important for people to know. For us as developers and the sponsors, it's it's not easy. Actually, it's more difficult,
Hmm.
especially the fact that when we have 600 plus investors in US and the fact that we are taking only part of the money from India, the kind of paperwork we go through for that part of the money is humongous.
True.
It's yeah,
Yeah.
so it's yeah, so we are
So I'm interested also to know that you guys must be following the upcoming budget. Like for example, in India, upcoming budget is going to be announced soon, where even RBI come up with the new policies or new interest rates and all the for foreign investment and all of that. How such policies affect you?
for us, I don't we have not been affected. You mean for Ashton investments,
Yeah.
right? We have not been affected by it so far. Maybe if we go after SEBI approval or any such approval, that might come into play. But right now, since we are doing through ODI process and
Hmm.
just the transfer is being overseen by RBI, uh,
It
it is
doesn't.
not, yeah, it
Okay.
has not played a factor so far.
Okay. And it's interesting to notice that you quoted 600 investors you already have in US, right? So why have the energy or time invested for Indian market where you have tapped into, like I would say Indian arm, where you have tapped into a small market, but why get into it, for example, when you already have so much of investors backing you in US?
It's a great question. Like I said, when we decided to spend more time in India, when we wanted to invest our own funds,
Right.
again we saw this gap in the industry, right, where we were not able to make the ROI that we were making over there in a
Hmm.
structured way. Not to say that there are no ways, but I would say
Hmm.
in a proper structured way with right paperwork.
Right.
And we also saw that people were not the investments were not globalized. it was
Hmm.
it was such a pain for people to take money from India to US to invest.
Hmm.
And they had only, I think the only means that they were doing was through LRS, if I may say
Hmm.
so, that $250,000 they can.
Yeah.
But as a company, they were not able to. That's when we decided, why don't we go ahead and start? That is why even if we see the growth, and even if you see the way I speak to my investment managers, I never give them a target of, say, we
Hmm.
need to make this much in this year,
Hmm.
because it defeats the purpose.
Right.
Because right now we are also in good awareness or campaigning part where people are very scared to invest anywhere with all the scams that are going on.
True.
And
True.
US, they immediately attach the name with recession,
Yeah.
and instead of actually looking at what is happening in the world, right?
Hmm.
um, so right now we are in that phase, but again, answer why that we have done so, it's purely out of passion, and we really wanted to fill the gap. And a lot of our Indian origin investors in US, they had a lot of money parked in India. So they
Hmm.
were always asking, is there a way that I can invest the money in Asian Way development that's parked in India? So this also served as, a
Right.
means.
Right. And having this Indian arm in beginning, you must be facing some kind of challenges, right? Where you mentioned about the awareness part, because when, of course, US investors having some money parked in India is a different thing. But when you are also catering to the Indian investors, there must be some challenges that you would have faced, right? So, would you want to tell us what exactly were the challenges?
Of course, a lot of challenges. The first challenge was for it was the people in US, they ask you different questions. Like I say, they ask you questions about the project a
Right.
lot, right? And your track record of sponsors. But when it came to India, they were all just hung up on the returns,
Hmm.
and which was very hard for us to break because they're seeing that we are giving great returns. The question was, it's a scam. How are you able to give us that much return?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, boss, then you have to wait and listen to the whole thing about the projects, else you will not be able to know how we are able to make the return.
Yeah.
Uh, that was a huge word they use, scam.
Hmm.
But then now, having said that, that was the first two projects, but then now we have close to 200 investors in India.
Right.
So that changed it. And another challenge that I faced was, in US we never market. The
Yeah.
minute we get a deal, we send out an email, it gets oversubscribed. In
Right.
India it's different. The first time I ever had to put my face out there, right? In US we never did any podcasts, or
Hmm. Hmm.
there is no Instagram marketing per se. We don't
Right.
do ad campaigns. But
Right.
here it was a challenge. And Sudishan is very introverted, and he will
Hmm.
not come in public, and he's that kind of a person because he's very smart. So he
Hmm.
needs to be in front of his laptop and paperwork all the time.
Hmm.
And I was forced to, because here people started saying it's credibility. If they don't see you, they are not going to believe you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is completely new for me to come out and put myself out there and
Hmm.
speak. And another thing was, here in India we are very well rooted in Coimbatore,
Yeah.
and that's why we started the business in Coimbatore. It's a second tier 2 city, right? End of the day.
Yeah.
And this was their next question: why did you start in Coimbatore? Why didn't you start in Bangalore and Mumbai, where people will believe you? I'm like, dude, I don't want to start projects, I mean offices everywhere in the world,
Hmm.
in India, and not able to manage it, or
Hmm.
my overheads are going to be more. I need to make this profitable for Indian investors. I don't want to be just engaging and catching investors by having so many offices.
Makes
So
sense.
that's why I headquartered myself in Coimbatore. And actually, in fact, when we proposed that we are going to start this in India,
Hmm.
my mom founded an orphanage in Coimbatore. We have about 200 children over there, and we have a lot of school for autism that my sister runs, and we have underprivileged senior citizen home that we run for free. So we have all of this. So my mom's first word, I would say, is just don't taint the name, because
Hmm.
it's a very shaky industry when it comes to India, the finance and investments.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
we have a lot more at stake to lose if
Hmm.
we do something that we are not supposed to do than the investor themselves, right? It's money is important, but we lose a lot more than money if
Yeah.
we mess this up. Yeah, so
No,
these are some of the
yeah.
challenges.
But also, like how you quoted tier two city, like if we see any recent report from last year, even the new reports which are coming in, it's been shown that tier two cities are in high in demand, especially from investors, even from abroad, or even from the investors who are staying in metro cities but are interested to invest their whole money in the tier two because of the development infrastructure announcement by the government. So,
Mhm.
is this the kind of cities where, even as you said, of course, if it makes money, makes sense for us in the terms of ROI, will you be investing or bringing in more projects for your investors when it comes to Indian market from the tier two cities? Would
Oh,
that be?
100%. 100%. Now that we are located in tier two, my eyes always goes around here, right? So if the opportunity presents itself, and right now as we are speaking, we are also looking at deals. So when we come across one such deal, we'll definitely do something here.
So earlier we had discussed when it comes to fractional ownership, right? So just to let you know, in Indian market, when it comes to fractional ownership, the minimum investment is like 1 lakh. So it makes you a huge pool and it caters to huge pool of investments or investors coming into that particular project. But when it comes to your projects, what is the minimum value an investor can come in?
It used to be 10 lakhs. We just recently changed it to 25 lakhs. That is a minimum.
Hmm.
And the reason for the change is also because a lot of our existing investors and even potential investors, they wanted to park more money for longer period of time.
Hmm.
So that is where we came and we changed it to 25 lakhs, and we have longer duration of 3 years. And having said that, that also gives you more IRR of 23% or 20% with 6% payout.
So when you say for 3 years, is it like a lock-in period?
It is a lock-in period for 3 years.
So if
where your 23% of your annual return gets accrued,
right.
and you will get exited along with your capital.
So if an investor has to exit earlier, maybe in a year or two, how's the exit process like then?
Because this is a land development project, we don't have an exit process in place. They have to go through the full life cycle.
Okay.
Because why the returns are more here is because we have to we have to wait for all the builders to take down their lots, and as they
Right.
take down their lots, we get paid, right?
Right.
And so that's why we have to wait till end of the third year to give up the returns.
And having
But-
minimum, sorry,
Mhm.
yeah.
No. Having said that, there is also another structure where it's 20% return with 6% payout per month.
But having an minimum investment 25 lakhs, doesn't it filters a lot of investors from the Indian market?
It does, but having said that, the kind of projects we do, it's very hard to do 1 lakh 2 lakh investors. We really want, in fact, even 25 lakhs I would say is bare minimum that we are doing.
Yeah. But it might be getting you a better, I would say, cream of investors who are serious in that way. Do you agree on that?
If I get 1 lakh 2 lakh,
No, if you have this minimum 25 lakh as the entry point, that might get you a good cream of investors, in the sense
Yes.
they'd be serious, of course. They would
Yes.
have done their thorough homework and research, because when it comes to, because what I've noticed, wherever the investment is hardly 1 lakh or 2 lakhs, it's become like the investment where exits are coming quickly earlier. And then they do not prefer those investments in terms of long run. They'll just pool in money in different manner and try to exit earlier too.
Yeah, this is like shits you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So that's true.
So Sumi, my last question to you would be, so we have spoken about the upcoming projects, we have spoken about the challenges. Where do you see Ashton Gray in next 5 years?
That's a very good question. I get asked that a lot. Where I see Ashton Gray Investments is more than the number of investors. I would say we personally as Ashton Gray Investments, we want to keep our track record. Whatever we have exhibited in US, we want to do the same in Ashton Gray Investments and show the investors. So that is where we are more focused.
So having a good solid track record, provide the
Yes.
transparency, that's what
Yep.
we are going to look into.
Yes.
So
I think if you do that, the rest follows, right?
Yeah. I agree. So thank you so much for coming in today and giving us insight about Ashton Gray Investment. It was really interesting. I'm sure even in the Indian investors will get more insights about the company, about understanding why the minimum is 25 lakh, and more projects that are under your belt. I'm sure it's gonna get bigger and better. Maybe next year we're going to connect soon, talking about more projects that you're having in the Indian market too.
Thank you, Kritika. It was lovely chatting with you. Hope we meet soon again.
Thank you.